All right. We are on the air. So, welcome to the Greyhawk channel. We're going to be exploring Blackmore here a little bit, if the players survive, of course. And we just want to thank all the patron supporters and all the Twitch subscribers for the Greyhawk channel. You guys rock. You guys make this happen and get to explore this original D&D setting with all its grandeur. So we'll see what happens. We're going to be using the Open Legend system here instead of D&D, so you'll get to see a little bit of a different system, but still getting to see all the awesomeness here. We want to, of course, thank some of our sponsors and supporters. So Roll20 supports us. We use their awesome system. You'll see that on screen today, both via the maps and the rolls and awesome artwork and all that. So Greyhawk channel is supported by Roll20. Heroic Maps is an awesome battle map sponsor, and you can check out their library of like over 300 maps on Drive-Thru RPG. And of course, we also want to give a shout out to Tabletop Loot, where actually you can get a 15% off coupon by using the coupon code Greyhawk when you check out. And our patron supporters and Twitch subscribers can also get a coupon codes to Rue Inc. and Cantrip Candles in the private section of our Discord. So definitely come check out the Greyhawk Discord. There's a lot of awesome people there, especially if you want to just know lore. They've got an entire lore channel to learn things about that. So I want to kick it off here with, I am Great Mustache around the internet. And I've been using Open Legend for a while, and started out with 2E second edition D&D a while ago. But we are minus one player today. They unfortunately are a little bit on the sick side, so they're not able to join us this morning. But they should be there next session. So we'll just, I guess, go left to right on the screen. So Time Bust, you're up. Just introduce yourself. You can introduce your character's name, but we'll be introducing the characters themselves shortly.
Hi, I'm Bilal Laika. I'll be playing Luthka. I'm been playing D&D since about 2003, and I'm new to the Open Legend RPG system. So, yeah. Known as Time Bust on Twitter and Luca Troop in the Twitch chat.
And what's your character name that you're going to be introducing here shortly?
Luthka.
Very cool. And then next we've got Casey.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Casey, KCH on social media, and I will be playing Roach. You may know me already from the Friday game at 5 p.m. with Bree.
Awesome. And then we've got D-Sword.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I am Derek Sword. Yes, Sword is my real last name. I am going to be playing Orion, a protective paladin, Dragonborn. And I only found out yesterday that Dragonborn aren't actually even in Greyhawk, so I appreciate Great Mustache for letting me throw that into the canon there.
He's just a really big kobold.
That's right. Just yeah.
Apparently, actually, you're playing yourself looking at the overlay just now because it's D-Sword 16 as Derek. So
yeah, go ahead. I guess I should restat it.
You just got to restat everything there. Yeah.
Really bring that agility down.
Yeah. We'll get that fixed at some point. But it's first episode, first stream, so there's bound to be a few mishaps along. So we'll get that sorted out. So we're gonna be diving in. We've got some of your character information. So basically, I'm gonna give you guys some information. You'll hear it, and then I'll introduce your characters at that time. With Eris out, I'll kind of be her character. She'll be a little bit more in the background but she'll be there so that next week it won't be any difficulty to have her pop back in and join us. So yeah, we're not starting in the City of Gods, of course. That's the name that we're going for, but we're somewhere else altogether. So before we get started, let's set the scene here a little bit. We kind of have a camera pan, zooming over unfamiliar landscape and coming in on this inn and hear a conversation. There's a gentleman talking, but do you think, will it work again? It's always worked for us before. We might not know who will come through, but if they're anything like the past individuals, they should be of great help to us. I trust it. Let's activate it. Yes, sir, the Finch. And then the camera zooms out, spans across the terrain. We're not quite sure where, and we see a similar inn, but it looks much older. It looks a little bit more run down. And zooming in, we kind of go through the roof, and we see a elven female with a dragonborn, who currently, she is the elf, is currently looking over this old-looking archway. It looks like it's got some writing on it, and she's got books and notes, and she's studying it. We see a dragonborn Orion standing there. What does Orion look like as he's standing there with Talia?
So Orion's a hefty golden dragonborn. He's actually pretty decently scarred on the left side of his body, to the point where you can kind of see, teeth peeking out from where his dragony lips would be, and some scars that actually run down his torso and his arm. He's been assigned to watch over Talia for several years now, and so he's kind of used to the fact that she's distracted when she's researching. So he's definitely just he has her to his back, just kind of keeping an eye out, and never knows that there's going to be something. Trouble seems to follow them when they go to places like this.
Yeah, and you guys have actually been sent here to, well, not necessarily sent here directly, but Talia has found her way, and I actually got to update her name on her token. But she has found her way to this inn and found this archway down below, and has been very excited about it and mumbling and babbling nonstop. She has a tendency, to be a little absent-minded, to not always be aware of her surroundings, and she is just locked in. So it sounds like she's talking, but she's not really talking to you. And like you said, you're used to that, so you're just kind of keeping on watch. There's definitely been some reports of increased bandit activity in the area, particularly ones that a large group that likes to waylay. Sometimes they capture people for ransom. Sometimes they just take all their belongings. But there's been a little bit of word and rumors of these bandits recently. And with that, we kind of zoom away from this dragonborn and this elf, and not too far away, coming down the road, we see another individual. So what do we see of Roach?
Not much, honestly. What time of day is it?
Right now, it's a little afternoon. Probably.
Oh, this is terrible.
Yeah. Probably, where most people have already had lunch and might be continuing on their travel schedule for the day.
It's my instinct to keep to whatever shadow I can. The world has not been kind to me. So I will probably be kind of like slinking through the shrubbery until I get to a point with no shrubbery, And then I'll kind of look around like, okay, I guess I have to keep moving anyways. And I'll keep moving forward. And out into the daylight is this black spot along the scenery. She's entirely covered over except for this sliver around her eyes, in which her skin is a very unhealthy green color. The eyes themselves look like rotted eggs in her skull. They're kind of blackened, and it's very difficult to discern what's iris, what's pupil. Her hair is a muddy, warm color, but what color exactly it is, nobody can actually pinpoint it. It's pulled back very professionally in a tail, and she's got layers upon layers on.
Yeah, and currently Roach is kind of a forward scout for a legitimate business group, and she's been tasked with locating, potential business prospects, and to, via communication methods pre-established, let the business group know that there's a new prospect that they can look at utilizing. Do you want to go into any details about that, or?
Not yet.
Okay. So you're kind of moving around the road. You had been in the woods recently, before you'd gotten to the road and getting to this point, and you see up ahead this inn. You don't really recall there being an inn here before, but it's been a while since you've traveled this road. Maybe you're not quite where you think you are. It does look like it's run down, old, probably not currently in use. And I didn't upload that image. I only sent that to you guys. I'll do that here in a second. But yeah, there's it's a 2-story. There's a stable next to it, and there's a big chimney going up. So you kind of see that as you're starting to approach, and the camera kind of zooms down and looks at your foot, and it kind of highlights there's this moss or this material that looks like it's stuck on your foot, something that you must have stepped in. And then the camera kind of zooms back and kind of follows the footprints. Not that there's necessarily footprints, but the path that you most likely walked. Maybe if you every couple hundred feet there's some of that moss that's fallen off, and we pull back into the forest that you came out of, and we see another individual there. So what do we see with Luthka?
Luthka is wearing Luthka is a very tall and broad figure, about 6'8" tall, and about at least half as wide. And she's currently wearing a sort of complete costume made out of wool. I haven't quite figured out the exact appearance yet, but unlike in the art, she is wearing a mask currently, and she's kind of tracking this moss because it's kind of a rare species, and someone stepped in it, and they must be reprimanded for that.
So we see this large orc individual tracking down this moss. So we see the inn, we see this black dot kind of hesitantly being out in the open, and then behind them another individual emerging from the woods. So you approach this inn, Roach. What would you like to do?
I'd like to see what I can see first off.
Yeah.
How many horses are there? Is there anyone outside that could possibly see me before I see them?
So the immediate things that you notice is, well, actually, I guess I should ask this for Orion. Would you guys have arrived on horses, or would you have been on foot?
I think probably traditionally, if I remember right from what Era said about her character, they come from a type of nobility. So I would imagine that probably on horseback.
Okay. So do you think that you would have just put them in the stables? Would you left them outside the inn? How would you have taken
If there
care
were
of them?
stables available, certainly. Yeah, probably would have lodged them up there.
Yeah, and actually I'll go ahead and show you guys this. So for actually you guys probably can't see anything because your character tokens are not on here presently. So let me fix that for you. I'll put you all in here even though you're not in here right now, just so that you can whoops. It's just so that you can see it and have a little bit of an idea. So this is the stable areas, and you are actually over this way a bit to have gotten to where you are presently. So yeah, there's all these stables that you could definitely have put the horses in. Actually, we can look at this too. Which again, because of dynamic lighting, you guys will not be able to see, but the stream can see perfectly. So yeah, we'll take care of that in a minute. But yeah, so there's stables off to the side, and the way it works is there's actually a ramp down to the stables, and then above there's a little bit of a loft area. So as you're approaching, go ahead and give me a perception check. But what you see right away is there has been what looks like at least somewhat recent activity. You can hear maybe the snorting of horses as they are eating. And for our viewers out there, the way that Roll20 works is exploding dice. So if you ever roll the maximum number on a dice, you get to roll that dice again and add it to the total. So there's the typical D20. Instead of modifiers from your attributes, you roll additional dice from your attributes. So for Roach, she ended up rolling here a D20 plus a D8, and the D8 ended up getting a total of a 21. So she exploded a little bit on that one. So yeah, you get a lot of information from this. It definitely looks like there have been 2 horses that have come through here recently. You can tell that they're in the stables beneath, and it looks like not much else has been used in this area. It definitely is run down, not something that somebody is currently keeping up. It seems like it fits perfectly where it is, but at the same time, it seems like it's out of place.
I'm not going to question that. That is beyond my pay grade. I will, however, sneak around into the stable and be very, very quiet.
Yeah.
And see if I can hear people. And if so, how many?
So let me move. So Orion, you're over there. She is currently examining that location. And then Roach, you are over here. So you can hear the horses that are in there. You kind of approach it, hearing the neighing, and maybe they've got a little bit of feed there, or some oats or something that they're chewing through.
Are the horses chill with me being there?
Well, have you just entered in right away, or are you attempting to be hidden or anything like that, or are you just
hidden, but not necessarily from the horses?
Okay.
Mostly I'm focusing on staying quiet.
Yeah, with your perception, you can tell in this immediate room there are only the horses in here. So you kind of slip in and take a gander, and there's just 2 horses. They're kind of in the middle stables, side by side to each other. They don't seem too worried about you presently because they're more focused on their food.
Yeah, we'll do some unnecessary rolls as I continue moving.
Sure. What do you want to... Oh, you mean rolling on the ground to...
Yeah.
Sneaky? Okay. Yeah, you approach and you see there's a passageway. There's some doors up. They're still functional. They don't seem barred or locked, so they're something that you can just push open, but they definitely look old. And even if they were barred, you could probably break them.
I'll stay here and simply eavesdrop on what I can. If
okay, I'll let you still use that 29 roll because you eavesdrop and there's nothing.
All right, then I'll begin to proceed to sneak into the inn.
Yeah, you. This is below the inn, so the stables actually descend partially underground, in a little bit of a ramp. And then based on what you see in the location, this area would be underneath the inn, probably like the cellar area, that sort of stuff. And yeah, you kind of push through the door, and it's just another hallway that you see going down, and you reach that corner, and there's another door. This one's partially open presently, and you can see that there is a stair leading up, which wouldn't be hard to figure out that goes up to the inn directly. And but again, everything down here, it smells a little bit of decay. It's musty, it's old. Dust has been disturbed recently, but probably by whoever came in on the horses, right?
I get a nice nostalgic feeling whenever I smell the smells.
Right, yeah. Nice familiar smell for you. Go ahead and roll your agility because I assume you're attempting to be somewhat quiet. Okay. Now, you do hear noise echoing a little bit, some mumbling. Somebody's either talking or maybe doing some sort of spells or something that's kind of echoing from south of where you are right now. So still down here in the cellar area.
I think it's time to go invisible.
Okay. You're not too much in a stressful situation here, so I think that's something that you can just achieve.
Okay.
So yeah, you kind of shift. For Orion, go ahead and roll your perception real quick, because you're kind of staying on watch here, so you're actively listening and looking around as your colleague behind you studies. So you hear something. It sounded like some movement. Maybe a little bit of shifting of a weapon or something, or metal hitting. You're not quite sure, but there was something that pinged off your ears a little bit coming back from the way that you came. So yeah, Roach, you've shifted to invisibility.
I was wondering if I could use detection then, especially if I don't see anything. Maybe see if I can see any auras around anything that's kind of popping up.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll, or not roll. You're using the boon detection to kind of detect auras and presence. Is there a specific one you're trying to detect, or just trying to get a general feel here?
Let me see if I remember which ones that detects. I think it's life, death, holy, unholy, life, death, or magic. I think that probably I'd be looking for death, because I think that also covers anything that has a deadly quality to it. It says
murderous intent, or things like that.
So yeah, the any general kind of danger, murderous intent sort of thing.
So how does for Orion, how does this work for him? What does he see? Is it like a sonar ping that goes out? Is it like a special vision? What does it look like?
So the way that I imagine is that the left side of his body was what was scarred, but that's also kind of where he channels his paladinic magic from. That the scars are a sense of honor to him, since the god he prays to is Hieronius, and so this valor, him taking an attack for somebody he was protecting, is actually where he can channel from. So he has like a milky white eye, and when he's seeing through in a magical way, that eye is able to actually see auras around things, almost like a literal like faint light. coming off of different things. And each of the, death has a certain color to it, and so does unholy, so does life. But they're not really colors that he can necessarily define. It's not like red. It's more of like a feeling.
And your score is a 1 for utilizing this ability, if I recall, right?
It is.
Okay, so what I want you to do is go ahead and roll your perception along with this. Go ahead and give yourself advantage 1 to the roll. And then now that you are invisible for Roach, go ahead and roll your agility with that additional advantage of being invisible to attempt to hide yourself here. Wow. Dim rolls. All right. So, yeah, your detection pings. There's a little bit of a signal coming from the northwest. And it is that slight death aura that you're getting coming from that direction. So there's somebody within, 35 to 55 feet of you through the wall, because there's a wall to your left, obviously.
Okay.
And so you do detect that.
All right. I'm definitely going to draw my sword, get behind, or I guess in front of Talia, and just make her aware that we're not alone anymore.
All right. Yeah, she kind of just waves her hand a little bit and keeps mumbling maybe louder than you'd like as she's taking notes. She's kind of bent down and is looking at some of the runes that are a little bit lower. And so what would you like to do, Roach, as you've gone invisible?
I don't think that I know that they're aware of me.
Yeah,
So-
you have no clue.
I definitely don't want to get bottlenecked, though. So what I think I'm going to do is I am going to put my fingers on the wall, and then I'm going to put my feet on the wall, and then I'm going to start scampering up it until I'm upside down on the ceiling, my ponytail hanging down.
So yeah, you're clinging, you're sticking to the wall in a somewhat unnatural way. Now, is it that you have to have multiple points touching in order for this to happen? How is Roach able to achieve this feat?
This is strictly magical. It is a spell.
Okay, so this innate spell allowing you to essentially climb like a spider. So are you still on the side of the wall, or did you say you go all the way to the ceiling?
All the way to the ceiling, and
Okay.
that's the point at which I'm going to enter the room.
Okay, yeah, you can go ahead and move your token as you feel. The noises you heard were from the south, not up the stairs. These
I
stairs
should
go
go
up. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's old casks of, these are the giant ones. Most of these are broken, but there's one that looks like it might still be intact that would have held ale and stuff like that. You can see off to the west there's another old storage room, and like everything down here, everything seems very old, busted, everything like that. And as you get a little bit lower, you see where there are bars, kind of like a prison, but not for a prison, right? They're just a more secured area, but a lot of them have either rusted to nothing, or they're just no longer there or broken. So it's nothing that impedes your way, but you do notice where there used to be some sort of bars. So you're aware, Orion, with your detection up and you're paying attention to things, that the aura is now coming a little bit more from this area. They are moving closer to you. And we're going to zoom out. The camera kind of zooms out, and we see the figure that emerged from the woods that was following that little black dot has gotten closer to the inn as well. So Luthka, you now see, and you saw it from a distance, but you're getting closer. You probably even saw a figure. You're not necessarily positive that that figure might be the one with the moss, but you see the inn and you saw the figure enter the stables of the inn. So what would you like to be doing?
I continue to track whoever stepped in this rare organism, and I'm going to not be doing it subtly. I'll just be barging into the stables.
Yeah, you barge in. The horses kind of neigh at your bold entrance a little bit, but at the moment they don't seem too disturbed, and you definitely recognize the smells of the animal even as you were approaching. So you're definitely aware of both of the horses that are in here who are happily munching away at whatever food was supplied to them.
Yeah, no problem with horses. They're nice.
Yeah, and you can, just proceed down. You see the rows of stables. Most of the walls of these stables have, fallen over. There's still a few that are up, but it's a very rundown, you recognize the smell of nature starting to take over a little bit, decomposing wood. Maybe termites have gotten into some of the wood, things like that, as you're entering in here.
Sounds like my kind of place.
Yeah, you're kind of at home, maybe even happy that nature is attempting to break down this civilization a little bit. So, Roach, you're continuing down. You've after you got past those rusted out bars, you see that there's a downslope once again, and then there seems to be a room that opens up to the left. So it's a little bit weird for you, Orion. As you can detect this, you're not sure the exact location of where this individual is, but somewhere in that area of where, of course you the player can see the token, but somewhere in this area and hovering above the ground, you see that aura, but you can't see a person or a thing or a creature. And of course, Roach, as you round that corner, you notice a rather large lizard, a kobold, something, is there in armor and has a shield and a sword drawn and is kind of looking in your general direction.
I would like to just observe what they're doing for now. I haven't made up my mind whether or not,
Right. Mm-hmm. And you see, of course, behind him there is a aloof elf examining a very odd-looking archway.
I will, however, begin to slowly reach for the dagger at my thigh.
Okay.
In case.
And so Luthka, you can continue to travel. You get up to here and you see this doorway, which you're able to, pass through pretty easy. And yeah, there's pieces of that moss, and I'll just jump you down to here. It's here that you're looking at the wall, and you can see like a little fragment of some of the moss that's come off that's stuck high up on the wall.
That's not normal, I don't think.
No, yeah, you've clearly been tracing it that somebody stepped in it, and now it seems like it's on the wall.
Have they been rolling around in it as well? It's even worse.
Yeah, you're not sure, but you can tell that the scent of the moss that you're kind of locked into, or the thing that you're tracking, it definitely appears to continue along the ceiling southward. And I think both of you, Orion and Roach, because Luthka isn't being subtle, isn't being sneaky, you hear this stomping of somebody large kind of moving through.
I'm going to assume that I have fallen into an ambush and corner myself and just wait for whatever's coming and see if they see me.
Sure. So Orion, you see the death aura kind of shift a little bit as you're you're sustaining and maintaining this detection radiating out in your vision. And yeah, Luthka, you can continue to head south. And by the way, behind you, those dots are a similar place where it looks like there might have been bars set up here at one time, like like whatever this archway was maybe locked up in some fashion, so you can just easily access it. But time has definitely worked its way over these, and it's rusted. There's maybe a handful of the bars that are still up, but definitely covered in rust. But most of them have either fallen down or been destroyed in some way, which allows easy access back and forth.
It's ideal for me.
Is there anything you want to do, Orion, as you see that one shift and then you hear the sound?
Yeah, so one of the qualities that I gave Orion was the fact that he's brash. So I definitely think that, he's, after he sees the death aura kind of shift, he's confirmed that it's not just, a trick of whatever, that there's something there. So he yells down the hallway, "Listen here, beastie. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your friend is doing down the hall. Go on back where you came from."
So, Luthka, you hear this, and of course, Roach, you hear that too.
I will go ahead and go invisible, knowing full well that I've been made.
So you undo your invisibility?
Yeah, and it works kind of like there's water running over me, but the water, instead of being water, is a reveal.
Yeah, so you see kind of crouched upside down this dark figure, wrapped, just clinging onto the ceiling. And Luthka, you've heard this. You can make your way further south if you'd like. Or respond in any way you want to that yelling that you heard.
I mean, I'm just going to follow the sound.
Right.
Might be who I've been tracking.
Yeah. So and you see the same thing down here, the rusted out bars that are no longer there, and a ramp descending down. So Ryan, this individual has revealed themselves to you. Talia mutters something about quit distracting her as she's moved on to another section of the arch and is checking something out.
Whatever's behind me is not my friend.
Well, then we're both in a predicament, aren't we? Just turn on back. I don't care who you are. Your business isn't here.
As you're around that corner, Luthka, you can see on the ceiling something clinging there, and right on their foot, there's the remnants of that moss.
I point menacingly. You.
So you're not together.
I don't know who that is. No.
I don't know who either of you are. Go away!
All right, stop telling me to go away. You have no idea why I'm here. I have come to deliver a message you will want to hear.
So you hear lots of talking, and then Roach, I guess, skitters along the ceiling a little bit more. So she gets out of your view, Luthka.
I continue pursuing.
Okay. Yeah, you slide down the ramp, and as you round the corner, you see a very old-looking archway made of stone, but a stone that's completely different than... Because this whole cellar area is basically dug out earth, right? So there's maybe some stone and some earth, all intermixed. And this is definitely some sort of different rock. Different colored. It's a little bit of gray, but it's got... it's probably not silver in it, but it has little sparkles in it that make you aware. So you notice that you're the evil person that stepped in the moss on the ceiling, and some sort of lizard-looking folk, and an elf.
To the lizard, kobold, giant kobold, I will say, I was considering helping you, but now I'm starting to think you're a little bit of an asshole.
I'm not the one climbing on the ceiling with knives in their hands.
And that automatically makes me a bad person.
It's a little unscrupulous.
Well, that's your problem.
Fair.
Turning around, what's your story? Why are you following me?
You destroyed a very rare organism.
You're just pissing everybody off today.
It sounds like me.
Get down from there.
Make me.
And Orion, are you maintaining your detection?
Yeah, I think throughout this, I probably am, yeah.
Okay. Talia says, "Hush, hush, hush, hush," as she continues to study, not even turning around to look at the new voices. Roach, you get a message in your head, which you've gotten before, basically asking, have you discovered anything? We've noticed an inn in the distance.
I'm weighing my options here. I think I'll respond, yes, I'm in the inn. People here.
Yeah, and you would know that would probably cause them to hurry some more people there at that message.
And I'll turn back to Orion and say, you have approximately 180 seconds until this place is surrounded.
Surrounded by who?
Silver-eyed Pithy.
So you called your friends. All right.
They're not my friends either.
Well, then you also have approximately 165 seconds until you're surrounded as well.
I'm going to go invisible.
Okay, go ahead and roll for it since this is a stressful situation. Wow, I think, yeah, you just exploded on the D20. Got a 36 there. So you're somewhat successful at going invisible, I guess. So yeah, the water, the trickling water effect, I guess, happens again, and you see them fade from view. You still have a general idea of where they are because of the detection, but it's not exact. Did you want to move after going invisible or anything?
Yeah, he seems like he doesn't want help, so screw him.
Yeah, so Luthka, you notice Roach, this individual going invisible as well, so that you can't really see him. You kind of, like, if you pay enough attention, you might be able to locate where the moss is on their foot, but you're not certain at this moment where they might be. Before you're like heading this way, Roach, we'll say, and Talia kind of goes, huh, and you all kind of hear a little sound from the archway as it kind of shakes and like dust in the room kind of descends down a little bit.
I'm going to turn back. Talia, what did you find?
The artifact seems to be humming.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm not sure, but I'm excited.
I'm going to turn behind. Is there anything like happening with the archway? Is it glowing or doing anything menacing?
Not yet. It just seems to have. There's a small like humming sound, and it seems to have shooken the immediate area a little bit. And there's a little bit like for each of you there. It's not like overpowering or anything, but there's kind of this draw towards it. Like you feel as if it's there's something strange about the arch that makes you want to look at it, but not anything too strong. It's just a strange thing.
I gotta stay dead silent.
Sure. What is Luthka doing here with the person turning invisible on her and everything that they're seeing?
How high up is the ceiling? Just about.
In this room, it's probably about, in spots, it's 15 feet, 10 feet in others. So not too high.
I'm gonna try to kind of like grasp at the ceiling in bear form.
Okay, so you're going to switch to a bear?
Yeah.
Can't remember if I set that up, but we'll throw this guy out for right now. Did you upload a bear to that sheet?
No.
No. Okay, I'll get that squared away. But yeah, so what does it look like when Luthka transforms into a bear? What does everybody see, except for Talia?
It's specifically kind of a polar bear with the same coat color as the sort of woolly costume that Luthka is wearing. So that kind of goes up in it, and she just kind of grows in size and gets Ursine features gradually. Yes.
And so the last place that you saw the individual was over here.
Yes.
So you're just going to kind of randomly claw at the ceiling as this large polar bear raises up on their hind legs and just starts swiping at the ceiling nearby you, Roach. Go ahead and do an attack roll with 3 disadvantage.
Wait, me or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Luthka. Bear Luthka.
Shit, I haven't figured out that character sheet at this point.
Okay, just do a might of like either 5 or 6. You'd probably go with 6 with the bear form, I would imagine. But
Okay. 3 disadvantage, you said?
yes.
Great.
So you're able to easily see it coming. You've already shifted out of the way, Roach. So you're able to avoid these claws that swipe through the air at the ceiling, kind of at you. And of course, Orion, you see this orc transform into this bear before you and start clawing at the ceiling.
So far, Orion's seen an undead person turn invisible, visible then invisible, and an orc turn into a bear, and has a gateway humming behind him. This is just Tuesday.
But just to note, you're not necessarily aware of an undead person in the room, just somebody who has a death aura about them.
Oh, I thought that her appearance alone would have given away the undeath.
Maybe. All you can see is just a sliver of the eyes, though. So
Fair enough. Okay.
if you'd like to do a perception or a logic to see if you could have determined that.
Sure. Let's...
I think that's you've got an inkling that might be the case.
Okay.
Some further investigation to ensure it, but especially with the death aura as well as what you've seen. You think it's a possibility.
I'll scatter around the bear
Mm-hmm.
quietly, and I'm gonna see if I can get past Orion to land on the square right above Talia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you see the aura change direction and come towards you and Talia, Orion. Again, you're not sure their exact location. Based on the fact that you saw them on the ceiling before and that the aura is generally hovering, you can guess that they're probably still on the ceiling, but you've got like a 15 foot area that they could be in.
If I don't get stopped, I'll use my voice after I arrive above her and be like, "What is that?"
It's an archway of some sort. Actually, I should probably have her roll to see how much she has figured out about this. All right. This is kind of her forte, being a scholar. Though I did not roll that great for her, but 16 is still good. So yeah, she says it's. Who knows if she thinks that you're just Orion talking to her or what? But she just mumbles, "Oh, it's an archway. I think it might lead to another place."
Good place, bad place.
And I think you guys hear like some. Well, you didn't tell them that you were down below, so they might not go into the stables first. No, they go into the stables first. So you hear one of those wooden doors sound like they kind of shatter. Like somebody has broken something of wood a little bit back. And I think all of you hear that echo through.
180 seconds is over.
As you hear that, one second. The humming intensifies. All right, that's not what I was looking for. The humming intensifies, and this fog starts to kind of come out around the archway, and some of the lettering and stuff starts to light up, and it feels almost like you're being pulled towards it, as if like gravity has increased right at the archway, and so you're kind of being pulled. It's not enough to force you to move, but you kind of feel that tug coming from it.
Does it look like anything? Like,
so right now, all this more and more smoke or fog is kind of covering the area and billowing out from it, and as these lights kind of flash across the stone surface, there seems to be in the archway a little bit of a swirling pattern starting to happen.
I would like to poke it.
Okay, so you kind of get there. Do you climb down to the ground? Or are you trying to poke it from the ceiling?
Yeah, if I need to, I'll move onto the top of the archway.
Okay, yeah, you're able to get on top of the archway, and you kind of poke it, and it feels like your finger is somewhere else. Like it feels like it's in a slightly different atmosphere or something.
Humid. Well, Pethy's here, so looks like this is your only route now.
So Luthka, what are you doing? You've heard the noises now. You recognize the voice from talking before. They're definitely at the Archway area. You're still in your bear form. You swiped at the ceiling, not hitting anything.
Yeah, if I'm noticing Roach, right up front of the portal, I'm going to charge at that and maybe drag people if standing in my way.
All right, so Orion, you see, so you've heard all that happen, right? You know that this individual is right next to Talia, and then like as maybe you're turning to notice that and respond, you also notice this giant polar bear is starting to charge towards the Archway and Talia, and kind of you. So what are you doing?
I think in that case, I'm a little torn between bear and invisible person.
And you hear people approaching. Actually, yeah, and at the edge of your aura, or not your aura, the edge of your ability to detect, coming from the west, from the stable direction, there's several individuals with some sort of death aura, either murderous intent or something along those lines, that seem to be coming through the hallways.
Okay. I think he's going to turn to Roach and go, invisible person, are you still here?
Yes.
Do you mean us any harm?
I don't know. You gonna continue to be an asshole to me?
Probably, but that's just who I am.
I guess I can accept you for who you are.
It's a very big person of you. Do the people coming for us, do they mean us harm?
Yes.
Great. Talia, is that a door?
And like it flashes, and the swirling is like completely full. You can't see through it, but it definitely feels as if you can go through it. And when you ask that question, it says, "Huh, I don't know," and walks through and disappears. As this bear is barrels past. Go ahead, Roach. Roll your agility for me, not
Yes!
to hide, but
I want to do like an ole.
see if you can, get out of the way of the bear, or if the bear barrels into you, into the archway. Okay, I think a very large bear. You were just talking to Orion, and you thought you positioned, but the movement and the loping of the bear like catches you off, and I think your shoulder knocks into Roach, Luthka, as you hit, and you barrel through the archway with Roach, kind of like falling against your back a little bit. Orion, you see the bear go through the archway and disappear.
Okay, so everybody's gone through the archway with me?
I mean, you're not sure about the invisible person.
Okay, but
Well,
Talia's
actually, no,
gone.
you are, because
It's the aura.
Yeah, the death aura blips out of existence.
Okay. Well, he's charged with Talia's safety first and foremost. So if Talia's gone through, he's taking the dive.
All right, cool. So you step through, and as soon as you step through, it's as if you have all stepped through, and so the room before you seems to be the same as the one you just left, but it smells different. It smells nice. The odor of decay is completely gone. Oh, don't hit the Windows Start button. No, that's not good. The odor of decay is gone. This room is clean. There's stuff stacked in it, and the bars are there. Solid bars. There's, of course, a gate opening, and there's also a bunch of soldiers all standing on the other side of the bars with cocked and loaded crossbow bolts, all looking at you. And you kind of, for Luthka, you've kind of charged through, and it's kind of like your momentum has kind of stopped, and so you're a large bear standing right in front of these bars. So all four of you are right there, more or less side by side to each other. It's as if you all appeared at the same time. The archway behind you is no longer humming. There is no opening. It seems to have closed off, and you are trapped behind bars with soldiers who all seem to be, very well presenting, nice, high quality armor, very well kept crossbow bolts and all that. Some of them with swords on their hips. And I think with that, we'll go ahead and take a break and be back in about 10 minutes here. So we'll see what happens when we come back. So, oops. All right. So yeah, you guys, we're jumping back in here. You have just passed through this archway that is no longer open, I guess would be the word, and you are behind bars, and you are facing a whole slew of well-armed, well-equipped soldiers. For anybody who's even vaguely familiar, you would definitely recognize that this is the, good quality gear. These aren't the, just pathetic lackeys or general low order soldier-like individuals. They have functional, effective gear that is well-maintained. And, they are not presently pointing any of the crossbows at you. They have them at the ready in their cock so they can just lift them and fire them, and you are presently behind bars. So, yeah, the soldiers have them aimed and cocked and loaded and kind of in your general direction, but they do not attack you as you appear.
Was I able to maintain my invisibility throughout all of the earth adoring?
Roll me your fortitude or your will as you pass through that archway. And same thing for Orion to maintain the detection, because it's a little disorienting as you shifted through this archway. I think in both cases they drop.
I'd like to bring it back up, please.
Yeah, you can attempt to roll it again. You've popped through. Plus, you were hit, right? You were barreled into by the bear. You kind of fell off the back and are now standing next to everybody else and seeing this. So yeah, in a panicked reaction, see if you can get your invisibility back up. I'll say go ahead and roll with disadvantage.
First,
on that.
I pick my arm off the ground where it had come off in the impact and get that back in there.
You're like right next to her, so you can potentially notice that her arm's on the ground and then she reattaches it. Orion.
Yeah, I just kind of kick it over to her a little bit.
Thanks.
So what happens is you're attaching the arm and you try and go invisible, and your arm successfully goes invisible, but not the rest of your body.
Wait, hang on. I got this.
So do any of you wish to react in any way towards all these soldiers?
I was wondering about using precognition.
Okay.
Yeah, I have only power level 1 in it, so I was kind of wondering if it's just like almost like a yes or no sort of thing.
Yeah, it's basically in the next 5 to 15 minutes, will or woe, right? Is this going to be good or is this going to be bad? So you ask a specific question about that.
Yeah, so I guess the question is just kind of, are we in danger? Is this safe?
Yeah, so usually the
Is that
target
too
asks...
vague?
No, it's not. I don't think so.
Okay.
So the target usually asks a question about a course of action they plan to take. So and it doesn't have to be specifically that. You're just more wondering, do I need to defend against these? Is this a dangerous situation?
Yeah, fight or stand down, I guess.
Right. So is this you communicating with your deity?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely get a sensation of peace.
Okay. Then yeah, Orion sheathes the sword, puts the shield down, basically raises his hands up, just mean you no harm, friends.
Yeah, you hear, and I'll say some of you even noticed that, like, as you appeared, like 1 or 2 of the guards that were in this room ran out upon your appearance.
How cramped is it for me in this bear?
It's pretty cramped in this space. It's because so Talia's kind of squished up. You're kind of pushing against Orion, who's bumping against an invisible arm attached to Roach. You guys are definitely, with bear size, you guys are definitely crowded right now with the archway at your back.
I'll use my ring to not be so cramped up in here.
Okay. What does everybody see you do?
I don't know. My arm's invisible. What? They really don't. But I guess where her hand would be, she moves something a little bit with the visible hand, and presumably, if nothing interrupts her from it, she will poof out of existence with a little suction sound, and she will potentially pop back up, standing right next to this guy.
Okay, so yeah, you guys witness this happen, this popping. I think one of the crossbowmen kind of turns towards you. This guy, they have their weapons at the ready. They see, because, well, actually, presently, are you holding any daggers? I don't think you are.
No, I'm holding my arm.
Right.
So I'm just messing with myself.
And yeah, maybe another guardsman kind of shifts over. They're definitely like, they've got their shield in front of them. They've got their sword at the ready. They are well trained, but they are not attacking you even as you appear. But they're just eyeing you. And
Just give him a little sup. That's it.
Anybody else want to say anything? Orion, you said, what did you say?
I said we mean you no harm.
We mean you no harm. Okay, yeah. And
then she teleports right next to him. So
right. So they're kind of eyeing that, and one of them says, "Well, we mean you no harm either. You have come through the archway. We have someone who would like to speak with you." And
I make a bear sound.
I guess that bear is your pet?
Bear wants to kill me.
They're kind of directing the talk to you, Orion.
The bear's not a pet. No, the bear has its own agency and individual thoughts.
And yeah, shortly the guards that ran out of the room come back with another individual with them, and the man says, "Oh, welcome! We have some visitors. Excellent." Noticing that one of you has gotten past the bar, says, "Oh, very, very resourceful. I would like to welcome you to the inn. I have a proposition for you if you would like."
Is this the Hells? We're not. This is a good place, right?
He says, "Well, of course. This is Blackmore." Says, "I'm sure you're hungry. Please, let them out." And one of the guards comes and opens it, since you overall seem friendly, so you guys can squeeze out now. You're staying in bear form, Luthka?
For now.
Okay.
I don't know if these people are orc racist.
Sure. Yeah. Might be better to be a bear than an orc in front of them. Sure. Yeah. So you guys are kind of let out, and unless you try and do something while they're kind of escorting you upstairs, you'll get upstairs. As you pass through, everything is now in very good order. Any wood is in excellent shape. Like I said, it no longer smells like decay anymore. Those caskets you passed before, they're all fully up and look like they could be filled with liquid. The storeroom you passed, there's a bunch of barrels and stuff. Everything seems to be not immaculate, but not decrepit, right? It's well maintained, well ordered, almost like you think you were in a different place, except the layout and everything is exactly the same, right? So I'm gonna group you over here so I can just copy all you guys. So you guys go upstairs in the inn and find yourself in the main room. Oh, actually, no, you need to be able to see. So I'm just going to put Luthka's token there until I get this thing sight and control for you. So let me fix that real quick. All right. So can you... Whoops. Is it not working now? Fun. You guys can all see? Okay.
Yes.
All right, cool. So you guys are, currently in this room. You're kind of taken to a table, and this gentleman kind of sits down with you and says, "Welcome. I am called the Fitch, and I have a proposition for you. You have passed through that archway, and it's currently closed. We have the means by which to open it again so that you can be returned back to your time and place."
What?
I'm sorry, what do you mean time and place? We're in the same place, aren't we? It's... Where did you come from, anyway?
Well, it's more of where you came from. You came from another location, but enjoy some food. So I wanted to retain you to make a short journey for us here. I'm not going to lie to you; it's a dangerous journey, but there's a chance that all of you will come back with, completely unharmed. And I like to be optimistic, but it could be dangerous. But there are certainly some benefits to the journey, things that you could gain. And of course, we'd provide you with transportation back to your time and existence. You're about 3,000 years in the past.
Prove it?
Says, well, that I'm not
Do you
sure.
have like a newspaper with the year on it?
Says, well, when you saw this place before, was it in this condition?
No.
It could be an illusion, though. You could be some kind of wizard.
Oh, I'm no wizard, though I do have many working for me. Would you all be interested in earning gold and potential unique and interesting items?
Sure, but let me see if I get this straight. You have the means to send us back now, yes?
Oh, you don't want to go back now. You do not want to go back now.
Valid point, but I'm just saying if I can get this straight. You have the means to send us back, but you won't unless we do what you want. So, effectively, we're hostages.
That is a way of looking at it. I mean, you don't have to do this thing. You could just, leave the inn and just stay in this.
Live 3,000 years in the past.
He nods.
And then you step on a butterfly, and then there's dinosaurs in the future.
Says there is there's an interesting thing with how the Archway works. It tends to draw those who could be interesting to be here, those who are in a way meant to be here. So I think the four of you were brought through that archway for a reason. As he kind of looks away, Talia's like examining stuff, probably somewhere, not necessarily sitting with you, finding the inn interesting. Because for Orion and Talia, you guys had actually come through this inn part. And yeah, this part where all these tables are is definitely completely different. There's maybe one good table in here. Then most were either just gone or destroyed. Some of the walls were fallen in, and now everything is, a very usable and used inn.
Lithgat doesn't like this version of the inn. Kind of shifting awkwardly.
I guess the just most straightforward thing, is there a roll to determine if he's just telling the truth?
Yeah, generally the perception roll can do that.
Okay.
So, and of course, if you have other attributes like influence or things like that, or prescience, you could attempt to use that, but typically perception to kind of get insight.
I don't think I have anything that would make this friendlier, so.
Sure. Yeah, he seems to be being very honest. He doesn't even seem to be holding anything back. Just like he mentioned that the journey he wants you to go on could be potentially dangerous.
Okay. All right. What was his name? Wasn't the Finch? It was. Yeah. The Finch.
The Fitch.
Fitch. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll look at him. All right. I believe you. All evidence points to the fact that you're being more honest than most people. What do you need from us?
Well, I suppose the best place to start is a way to the south from here. There's some open plains we call the Eastern Hack. There's not much there, but one of our people, a fellow called Pushwa Nashapro, is down there and kind of has domain in the vicinity called the Barony of Dragonia. It's a miserable little fief, more of a military outpost than anything else, really. Anyway, the barony ends at the Worm River. Beyond that, the land is claimed by a bunch of nomads, the horsemen of Peshwa. Nasty folk, very fond of collecting other people's hair, I understand. Anyway, there's one old gentleman who has managed to settle in that country despite the Peshwa. A scoundrel by the name of Garni Binbo. He used to be a sergeant in the guards, actually, and he runs a small trading post, name of Binbo's Hectar. Not much there. Sod station, house, coral, just about does it. But it's a good listening post, and our man, the Baron of Dragonia, pays old Binbo for any information he manages to pick up. That's one of the ways we keep tabs on the Peshwa there. And Binbo's reports are usually routine, but not many weeks ago, he had something land in his lap, and it was anything but routine. Imagine for a moment a big silver egg, about the size of this room, and hollow inside. Now imagine that the egg flies, and it flies with people inside of it, up to a dozen maybe. Now, once you have that image in your minds, imagine that you're an old man alone in the wilderness, surrounded by enemies, and one day your crockery starts to rattle, and your house starts to shake. So you run outside to see what's happening, and there, falling like a stone into the hill behind your home, is our big silver egg. Personally, if it happened to me, I'd probably be hiding under the bed, shaking and quivering and muttering pleas for mercy. But Binbo's made of sterner stuff. Realizing that he had a tiger by the tail, he determined to hang on and ride the beast. By which I mean, he got his crossbow and went to investigate. He got to the top of the hill just as a very agitated individual came staggering out of that egg with something glittering in his hand. Well, no sooner does this intruder see Binbo than he aims at him whatever it is that he's holding. Binbo, being no fool, recognizing a hostile act when he sees it, he promptly buries a quarrel in the gentleman's forehead. End of the intruder. Any questions so far? He looks around as some fresh mugs of ale are put down and maybe a bowl of water in front of the bear.
How much money are we actually talking about?
Well, I'll certainly make it worth your while. We'll get to that. I'll give you a little bit more information, but somewhere around 5,000 gold pieces.
Each.
Says perhaps.
Continue.
Well, after taking care of the intruder, and no longer being in the position to exercise his property rights and no one else about, old Binbo laid claim to the egg. He knew that we would be interested, of course, so he sent word of his find to Baron and via passing patrol. The Baron in turn contacted me, and I arranged for some of our people to look at the item, in exchange for which I had to pay a large sum to Binbo, of course. Now, one of our people is still there now, and every day he's learning more. I don't know what his final report will be like, but what he's told us so far is both intriguing and disturbing. The egg and all of the items in the possession of the dead intruder appear to be highly, highly magical, but of a type that we have never before encountered. Our man on the spot and others who have visited the place believe that this new magic is potentially as powerful as anything we even know today. What is truly frightening is that it may in fact prove to be more powerful. That's our concern. That's not the only reason that we are frightened and curious. In recent weeks, our agents have become aware of others asking questions about the egg, trying to find out what we know about it and what we plan to do. These others have been identified as agents of the Order of the Frog. We've also learned from backstreet gossip that our old foes, the Froggies, have somehow linked the egg with the City of the Gods.
What's that?
The City of the Gods is a massive city where potentially gods reside, but
is that something we're aware of from our original time?
No, there's you don't even need to roll. There's nothing popping up in your mind's City of Gods or anything.
It's all completely foreign.
Yeah.
Okay.
The even mention of these frogs, Order of the Frog, Froggies, nothing's immediately popping. Of course, the fact that you know that you're apparently several thousand years in the past, you're not really sure. Now, Talia might know more, but we'll find out in a little bit. So, with the Froggies being active again, it seems that their temple is being rebuilt, and it seems they're looking for new talent. This time for some special operations. We don't know for sure what, but we do know that the new recruits are all called Soldiers of the Frog, and they're being armed with some magical weapons. Regardless of what they have planned, we can be sure of one thing. With the Froggies in this, it's going to get nasty. As for the City of Gods, that will take some explaining. So, about 4 years ago, we began to hear stories about a sky-sailing city that had come to this planet in a desert called the Valley of the Ancients, south of Blackmoor here. At that time, we were looking for allies in our war against Thonia. A party of us made a trip into the desert to find the city and try to form an alliance with them. It's a reasonable thing. Less than a third of the expedition returned. What killed us? Thirst, heat, trolls, sandfolk, dragons, the usual, but also other things. We got to the city, you see, and we got inside and tried to contact the gods, but it was no good. All we saw were monsters and metal warriors. The metal warriors killed more of us than the dragons. In the end, we ran from there like whip dogs, and we're glad for the privilege of showing our heels. That's what I know of the City of Gods, and the City of Gods is where you're going. Assuming, of course, that you're willing to do some traveling on our behalf. Your object is to either contact these gods and talk to them into receiving a diplomatic envoy that we will send, or failing that, to steal whatever magic you can that might be of use in the coming war. And like I mentioned, we'll make it worth your while. 5,000 gold pieces just to make the trip. Another 5,000 if you arrange for our envoy to be received with them, and we'll give you a generous price for any new magic items you acquire. All of these sums payable upon your return, or upon conclusive proof of your deaths, as appropriate. For our part, we're also making the entire expedition possible for you, of course, so we'll provide you with food, equipment, transportation, good advice, and even a few companions who know the territory. Really, I'm sure you agree it's a chance of a lifetime, really. Any other questions so far?
You said you'd pay us well for any magical items we found. What if we want to keep the magical items instead? You gonna fight us for them?
We won't fight you for them, no. But I'm sure our offers to reimburse will be quite interesting. And hopefully you'll acquire several, so there's always the possibility that you could keep some and sell us the rest.
And I'm going to look at Orion.
I'm just curious what the interest rate for 3,000 years worth of investments would be. That's sizable.
Might need to account for inflation.
Right, that's the other thing,
That was out of character.
Oh, okay. I think so for Orion especially. I think that since Talia, his main mission's keeping her safe, but I kind of imagine that this kind of research, this kind of knowledge, would be something she wouldn't want to pass up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's very bright-eyed at the mention of this exotic city, magical items and devices that have never before been seen. Because these things that they've described so far are things that you haven't even heard of. So
right, and yeah, I don't care about your gold. I don't care about your magic items. My goal is to get home, and it seems like there's only one way to do this. Yeah, fine.
I'll take your cut.
Sure.
Yeah, so you guys, if there's any other questions you want to ask them about this, about requirements or more details or things like that, or any type of negotiations you want to attempt to make, you're free to do that right now. The Fitch is listening to you and willing to respond and everything like that. He seems to be a friendly enough individual.
So let's see if I get this straight. You give us all the information we can, companions, transportation. We go through a desert.
Yes.
And find this lost city, look to some gods.
Yeah,
hopefully come back alive.
We'll be sending you to Binbo's first, so that you can
right.
meet up with some individuals there for the journey, as well as inspect the strange silver egg.
Right. Okay. That's fine with me.
If you're the Fitch, does that mean that there were others and you killed them until you were the only one left.
He chuckles a little bit. He says, "It's a little bit of a title, but no, I did not kill others.
What happened to the other fishes?
There weren't other fishes."
Okay.
I feel like that's a suspicious thing for someone with access to time travel to say.
So yeah, he says, so like I said, we'll provide you with some companions. One of them is none other than the Baron of Dragonia himself, which should tell you just how important we believe this matter to be. The Baron knows the South as well as anyone in Blackmoor, and he'll be your guide. He is also, by the way, one of the deadliest swordsmen in Blackmoor. We're also sending along a rather colorful character who might be useful, a wizard by the name of Basario, a decent fellow, but he's got a bit of a drinking problem. I doubt that will be a matter where you're going, but Barso has been examining the egg for us, so he knows about as much as anyone about this new magic. Incidentally, Basaro's brother Richard is also going along. He's going to be here shortly, but we want you all to get some rest, so there's some rooms upstairs we'll make available for you, and there's of course some food for you to eat now. And it might be about that time that you look outside and you notice that although it was just a little bit afternoon when you had left, it seems like it's getting dark now. So it's a little bit more evening time presently.
It's going to make for some jet lag, I think.
Says, and as far as your bear, I suppose